everything JavaScript from basic to advanced. So the goal of this tutorial is to make sure you learn from the basic and then you learn upward to the advanced level. So let's get started. So we're going to use Visual Studio for this tutorial. So let's first start by, I have a file created called JavaScript, then I'm going to open that in the Visual Studio. In the Visual Studio, I'm going to create a file I'll name it index.html. Yeah, I want us to learn how to use JavaScript inside HTML. Then from there we'll move to a .js file. Okay, so in order to write JavaScript inside HTML, you need to first have the doc type of HTML inside. How do we create that? I have a full tutorial on how to use HTML on my channel. Okay, so to do that, we can simply use the exclamation sign to get the structure of HTML, and that is very simple. Okay, so first let's learn how to embed JavaScript inside HTML. So we say embedding JavaScript on HTML. Okay, so it is very simple. We need to go to the body side. You can even do it at the head, but let's do this in the body side, and then we'll call a script tag, and this script tag means we are embedding a JavaScript in here. So this script tags denotes that you want to have JavaScript in between this script. So for example, don't mind what I'm gonna write here. We're gonna learn more about that, but first, this is how we embed JavaScript inside HTML, and it can also go to this side of the page. So that is embedded in HTML. Okay, so let's say we have let's try something in here. We're gonna learn a lot. So this, I'm gonna use document dot write means show something on the screen. That is document dot write means what? Show something on the screen. So in here I can put a string in here. Let's say hello tech TV. Okay, so tech now TV. So I save this, and then I can open this in a browser, and I should be able to see this printed on the screen. Normally it's a good practice to end your statement with a semicolon. Okay, so let me go to the folder where I have my HTML, and then double click this real quick. So let me see. Let me open it here. So I have hello tech now TV. That is really great. Okay, so let me first, now let's learn how to use this same script in an external script. So external script is simply an extension or a file with .js. So let's create that real quick. So I can create this here, and I will say, let me say index, same index, but this time around this is .js. So it looks a little bit different. You see it comes with a JavaScript logo, and this one comes with the HTML logo. So not there, it just comes with the tags here. It means it's HTML. Okay, so in here I can simply copy what I have here, which is a document.write, means printing on the screen, and then paste it in the index.js. So how do I reference this JavaScript to the HTML? So here we need to use what we call the script tag, as I demonstrated for the embedded one, and instead to write the JavaScript in here, you can easily refer to it by just calling the external file using the LSRC, which is actually called a source. So it can be a source of a file. So we are referring to this JS here, which is index.html. So this is how we refer to external JavaScript file inside HTML, and this can also be at the top here, just like what we have in the body. So we can have the JavaScript right at the top. So if I copy and paste it here, it also works perfectly at the top here. So this is how we do that. Now let's jump into learning another thing, which is gonna be how JavaScript is case sensitive. So JavaScript case sensitive. So sensitive. Good. So let's demonstrate what I mean by case sensitive. So in a script tag, I'm gonna show you a little console print, which means we print from the console instead of printing on the screen. And then we want to see how JavaScript is case sensitive based on this variable. So I'll teach you types of variables soon, but this is just for the demo for us to see that JavaScript is case sensitive. So let's say this variable, it's gonna be is equal to hello, and we're gonna console this. So console this means we're gonna print our output on the console. So we use what we call the console. I just taught you the document.write, which means it prints on the browser, and the console prints behind the scene. So I'll show you how to see that. So console.log, and then we call in the variable, which is this. The first one is the right variable we have, so in here. Then let's repeat this same line on the second one, and let's say this variable is a small v instead of a big V. And the next one, let's say we change this to a big M, and let's see how it's gonna show. Let me use Chrome. Open with Chrome. Okay, so now let's inspect the source. Now we need to go to this side, which is the console. Okay, so as we can see, we have this error, on catch reference error. My var is not defined. So you see, because we use a different name for the console.log, so it shows us that there's an error there, and that is what is showing here. So this what tells you that anything you do in JavaScript, you need to be mindful of the case sensitiveness of JavaScript. So you see the first one, which was the right variable, actually displayed the hello, but the two of them, one is on catch, the another is reference error, where my var is not defined. So you need to be very mindful of that. All right, so if I clear this and save only the rightful one, and then I reload the page, you see hello world print inside the console. Great. So you need to be always mindful that JavaScript is a case sensitive programming language. Now let's look at comments in JavaScript. So JavaScript comment. So how do we comment code inside JavaScript? Very, very easy. We have the single the single line comment, and then we have the multi-line comment. Okay, so the single line, for example, let's say here we have something like this here at the top, which is our comments, right? So we said this is JavaScript single line comment. For example, single line comment. What we have to do is to use double slash for this, and this will not execute when the code runs. So when I put double slash here, you see it changes the color, means this will not execute in the program. So it's anytime it's executing, it's just gonna jump this section and then go to the main code. So what about double line comment? Double line comment is when you have a chunk of code or comment you wanna enclose on a different tab or line. So for example, we have all this comment showing, which is on different lines, which is almost like a paragraph. You can use the single for each of them, but that's just too much of time. So what you have to do is to simply use what we call the multi-line commenting, which is slash star, and then you need to end it with another star and then slash, then you comment all this paragraph here. So that is how we add comments to JavaScript. Now let's learn how to add variables inside JavaScript. So let's do JavaScript variables. Okay, so how do we create variables in JavaScript? Let me clear this. Okay, so to create variables, you should know that we have strings, integers, and then boolean. So let me start using the comment here. We have strings. String simply means words. Then we have numbers, which is obvious, like integer, float, and decimals. So with the numbers, we have integer, float, and we have double. Okay, then we will have boolean. Boolean simply means true or false, Then we have now as well. So let's look at how to actually create these variables. So first, let's try a string. So normally we use a keyword called let or var or const. That is a constant. Good. So this one, the first one, the constant means when you declare a variable, for example a, is constant in the code and it's constant to this whole code inside the scope. And when you use a variable is also used for names which you want to use within a particular block. And when we use let will be in a group block. So anytime we want to declare in a group block, we can use the let. But let's use let in this example. So let's say we have let name is equal to maybe John Mike. Okay, Then we can have another declaration, which is let's do age here, and age is gonna be, let's say, 34. Then let's say we want to do a boolean, which is true or false. So let's say is single, and then we can assign a true or false to this. So let's say false to this one. And now we want to use the document.write to actually print these variables. And variables are simply a storage holder. So it means this John Mike is inside the name. So when we reference this name, it should print out this. So this age is also a storage for 34, and a single is also attending to this boolean, which is false. So now let's look at how to print variables or display variables on the screen. So print variables values. Okay, so it's very simple, using the document.write. So document.write. Okay, then we'll first print the name, that is the name of the variable here, and next let's duplicate this twice. So I'm copying this age here because that is what we want to print from, and then the next one is what is single. So let's quickly see how this will display on the screen. So we have John Mike first, 34, and then we have false. Yeah, but there's no space in between. We can use a simple concatenation in HTML, but you can learn this from the HTML series I have on my channel. So this is BR, which means break. So it's gonna break this down and this one also down. All right, so let me save this and then reload so we see it properly. So our first variable name, our second age, and then a single false. All right, so this is how we declare variables inside JavaScript. Now let's look at declaring variables and still using it, which is what we just did. So the first one is declaring, and here is actually making use of the variables. Okay, so next we're gonna look at other things in JavaScript. This is the fundamental and the basics. We're gonna move to the next stage. Peace, I'm out.